Welcome back to Three Trials Barbecue, everyone. Today is a day of experimenting. We're going to be doing pork belly burn ends, two different styles. We're going to be using two different rubs, and we're actually going to be smoking them two different ways. Okay, so to start off, we're going to be opening up this, I think it's 11 pounds of pork belly. So very simple. We're just going to get in there and we're just gonna clean it up. Loving this new Dow Strong. Thanks to my babe. All we want to do today is cut it up into strips, and then we're gonna dice them into cubes. And I told you guys that we're gonna be trying two different ways of smoking. One way is gonna be smoking them in strips and then cutting them. And the other way is the traditional way where you coop them up in about 1.5 inch cubes, and you try to get the rub all the way around. So let's start off with dicing a couple with 1.5 inch or so cubes. Now you want to do this when the meat is nice and cold. The fat usually starts getting all mushy, so it's best to do it when it's nice and cold. So I'm gonna do about half of these in strips and half of these cubed up, but first we start off with the strips. So we got 6 strips on this side, 6 strips on this side. We're gonna cube these 6, and these we're gonna leave as is. About 1.5 to 1 inch cubes. That usually does a trick. By cubing it up, you get to get rub on all 6 sides of the pork belly, and you're able to get the flavor all around. We're gonna finish these up and we'll be back. There's gonna be 2 different styles of smoking today. With these, I'm gonna get smoke on all 6 sides, and with these, I'm gonna get basically smoke all on the outside, but then when I dice them up, I'm gonna have exposed pork belly that'll be softer, and we'll see what the difference is in taste. I'm gonna go ahead and change the butcher paper, and then we'll go ahead and grab some mustard. We'll throw a little slight binder on there, and we'll rub them down. Go ahead and just rub this down. So now that we have it all with a slight mustard binder, we're gonna come in with the Sucklebusters barbecue rub. So let's go ahead and open this up. Let's give it a coat. Go ahead and give it a generous coat, pat it down, and then we're gonna start mixing it up and grabbing some from the bottom here, making sure all sides has a little bit of that rub. Okay everyone, so we have the Sucklebusters right here, all cubed up. We're gonna let it sit. We're gonna work on this one. We're gonna be using mustard as a binder again. And this time, we're gonna be using the How to Barbecue Right Killer Hogs. Okay, so we got the binder on there. We're gonna be Malcolm Reed's The Barbecue Rub. Again, we're gonna be generous with it. Go a little high. I'm gonna pat it down and then start flipping it around. We got our strips of the Killer Barbecue Rub, and then we have the Sucklebusters Competition Barbecue Rub here. Obviously, there's a little bit of a color change, right? I'm gonna let them rest. I'm gonna let these sit, and then I'll meet you guys out there when we put it in. We're gonna be setting this up to 250, and we're gonna maintain that consistent temperature throughout the cook. We're not gonna change it up or anything. We're gonna get the pork belly right now. We're gonna set it into this Traeger. We're running the cookin pellets, perfect mix. Let's grab the pork belly and we'll throw it in. So from here, guys, it's pretty easy. We're just gonna monitor it. We're gonna let it go for 3 hours. And at an hour and a half, we'll come check them out and we'll give them some spritz. Spritz is gonna be very simple. It's gonna be apple juice. So we'll see you guys in an hour and a half. Let's take a look and see what we have. Ooh, look at that. Very nice. You can still see the distinguished color between the Killer Hogs and the Sucklebusters. Now, at this point, it's only been an hour and a half, and temperature is not too much of a big deal. I'm going to insert this probe just to get something to monitor the temperature of the pork belly, and I use one of the bigger strips just to get a better idea. Well, as we know, smaller pieces will cook a little faster, and we're looking for anything about 180 and above. Right now, the small piece tells me it's 161, and these slices are 150. So they're obviously running a little hotter, but they're also thicker, right? So we're just gonna go ahead and spritz it with a little bit of apple juice. Simple apple juice. We'll let them keep rolling, and we'll see you guys back in about an hour and a half. All right, everyone. So we're at 3 hours. Look at that. Amazing. Look how delicious that looks, everyone. The probe actually says it's about 177. Let's take a look at one of these. It says 196 and rising. This big piece there says 173. So obviously the bigger pieces, they take a little longer. This one says 175. I'm gonna take these out. Start with this probe. Take the rack out. All right, y'all. So I brought these two in. I left the slabs in there. While we hook these up, I'll let those kind of sit in there, get a little bit more temperature. They're about 5 to 10 degrees behind. It's not a big deal, but this is going to be simple. We're going to throw some of these into this pan. So I'll put these in here. And then remember, I told you guys, we're going to do something different. Well, check this out. A bed of jalapenos. We're gonna make a smaller batch of pork belly burn ends with jalapenos, and if I remember correctly, this recipe turns out awesome. So we'll have these two. Now let's go get the pork belly from outside and we'll start dicing it up. All right, y'all. So like I said, I only let it sit in there for an additional 5-10 minutes while we got everything in those pans. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these slabs, which look beautiful. Look at that. And we're gonna dice them up in similar cube style. Now remember, these have already shrunk, so we make these for whatever bite-sized pieces we want. And so the difference between the sliced up cubed version versus these is we have nice pork belly, and look at that wonderful smoke ring on that. Look at that. And remember, we just went at 250. Smells delicious. We get to cut them up into whatever size we want now, and we'll make a little stack here, And I also have a bed of jalapenos for these. You just feel the jiggliness on that. So let's start first with this one. And we're just gonna make a bed of pork belly here. Okay, so we'll put that aside. So we're gonna continue slicing this up, and we'll be back. The next step is putting some of this brown sugar. We're gonna put some honey and some butter, and we're just gonna let that go for an hour and a half. So I don't usually measure this step. I kind of do it by eyeball. And so I just add a little bit, kind of a generous amount of brown sugar. The next thing I do is I add just a little shake of some of that barbecue rub. So in this case, this is the Killer Hogs, and it's just a slight pass just to get it on now these exposed sides. And then I'll do the same with the competition rub here. A slight pass, not too much. I'm gonna add some honey, and this is just a drizzle. It doesn't have to be too much. So not too much, but just a tad. The next step is now we're gonna make our braising solution, and it's really gonna be just butter. So for the most part, it already has a lot of fat, but we want it to get some liquid in there so it gets to the fall apart stage. So that's a whole stick. Okay, so this is basically all we're gonna do for the next hour and a half. We're gonna get some aluminum foil, we're gonna cover this up, and then we'll do the same to the jalapeno versions. Okay. We're just going to cover these up as well, and we'll take them out to the pit. Still running at 250. I had already put the big trays in there. Now we're putting the jalapeno trays right above. We're not gonna do anything special other than let it run for another hour and a half. So we'll see you guys. Okay, so we are at an hour and a half, rolling at 250. It's time to take these out. So these are gonna be hot. So take a small one and a big one out with the jalapenos. And we'll see you guys inside. All right, y'all, so look at that goodness. These are the jalapeno. These are the competition. So they're super jiggly. They have a little bark to them. We're just gonna transfer them and get some of this liquid out. And then we're just gonna glaze them with some barbecue sauce. So transfer them over. Okay, so very simple. You just get a dab of barbecue sauce. Not too much. Now, I would say toss them around, but they can fall apart, so just be careful when you do this. And we're using Kinder's barbecue sauce, one of my favorite. So, just want to toss them. Get a little bit of that glaze. And we'll do the same for the jalapeno. So these are ready to go into the barbecue. We'll let them run for another 15, 30 minutes at the max. It shouldn't take too much. As you can see, some of this stuff has already fall apart. So we'll grab the second batch and we'll see you guys right back. All right, y'all. So the second batch, jalapenos and the competition barbecue rub. All right, so same thing. We're gonna take these out. I'm just gonna pour the liquid into this one. Okay. Simple. Just a glaze. Heavy as light as you want. Up to you. We're just gonna give them a mix. Get this over here. And that was a lot easier, so I'm just gonna dump this liquid. Okay, that was easier than taking them out. So light coat of barbecue. And we're just gonna toss them. Be careful with them because they will fall apart. They're super tender. These actually aren't as tender as the individually smoked ones, but they're fall apart. But you could feel the difference. These have a little bit more meat to them. So we'll let those, leave those there, and we'll rub these down. They're still tender. They just feel like they're a little harder than the others. We'll go ahead and take these out to the Traeger, and we'll get these to glaze up a bit. All right, y'all, so it's been 25-30 minutes that they were sitting in the barbecue, just uncovered. We got a total of 5 hours on this cook. These are actually the ones that had the competition rub, and they're super soft. And these are the same ones with the jalapenos, which I'm gonna grab a couple. But this is the finished product on these individually cubed pork bellies. I mean, just phenomenal. This, we'll give it a try now. But I wanted you guys to see this individually, and then I'll bring out the ones that we cut in slabs. So let's give these a taste test. We'll do the jalapeno. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, it is absolutely fall apart. These are super soft, fall apart, almost like eating little pillows of marshmallowy bacon. They're, if you ever remembered ribs, that's what it tastes like in an individual bite. The jalapeno wasn't too bad. I wish I would have put more, that's for sure. This right here, mixture with the brown sugar, the butter, and the honey, and then the glaze with the Kinder's. I think Kinder's is one of the best barbecue sauces out there. They made the best profile so far. So let me put these aside. I'm gonna go grab the other two, and we'll try those out. All right, y'all. So trial number 2. These are the jalapeno, and as you can see, in these you could see meat, and then the edges were rubbed down and had smoke. So these are these are also soft as can be, but they had a little bit more texture than the others. So let's grab a couple of these. Okay, so these were the How to Barbecue Right barbecue rub. Same thing, other than being cubed. We ran these with a slice, and then we cut them down when we put them into the brown sugar, butter, and honey. Lighter on the color, so let's give this a shot. No jalapeno on this one. These taste soft, almost like a perfect rib bite. Not as marshmallowy as the others, and I think it was because it cooked whole as a strip, and it probably didn't reach the temperature that the other ones did. Really good. Let's try the jalapeno. You know, this is a great problem to have. Having the option of tasting 2 types of barbecue in 2 different types of way. I felt like with these, the jalapeno really popped out a little bit more. It may have just been the amount of jalapeno that I put in, but regardless, if you want something with a little bit more texture, you go with the strip and then slice it. You get a little bit of pork, more pork flavor, less of the smokiness, because obviously it only got 4 out of the 6 corners, but it's really good. It tastes like a rib. The other style, when you cube it up, it's definitely like a marshmallow. You taste the smoke, you taste the rubs, you taste everything, and it's delicious. Fall apart, literally meat candy. So great success today, everyone. I'm glad we were able to try not only the cooking pellets. We ran at a consistent 250 degrees. We cubed those up, we stripped these up, we rubbed them down with competition barbecue blend, and then we used the barbecue rub from Malcolm Reed on these strips. We smoked them for 3 hours, then we took them out, added brown sugar, honey, and butter, and simply threw them back on for another hour and a half, and took them out, unwrapped them, took all the juice out of them, and then just glaze them with your favorite barbecue sauce. And at 5 hours, can't go wrong with this meal. This is a perfect Super Bowl or weekend appetizer. You could even make sandwiches out of this or whatever you want. Make tacos, doesn't matter. Very, very successful on this trial. I hope you guys give it a try. Don't forget to hit them likes and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.